To begin, have your paper horizontal so that it is long on the top and short on the sides. Then you're going to fold your paper down towards you. Try to line up the edges, put a finger in the middle, crease left, crease right, and there's your fold. Okay, your next step, you're going to fill in the top part. So do not go past that line. That is now your line of symmetry. So write your name. But the two rules are that it needs to be really big and it cannot cross the line. So see how I had to curve my letters there so that it fits in to that top part. You can make your letters bubble letters, cursive, curly, however you would like, but the main thing to remember is that it is big and that your letters stop when it comes to the middle line there, or your line of symmetry. If you do make any marks below the line, just erase and then fill in those lines. Just make it look nice. All right, next up, we're going to actually trace over our letters and we're going to press hard on our pencil to create a darker value. Also, while you are doing this, you might want to make your lines a little wider. So I'm doing that by pressing a little harder on my pencil. I'm holding my pencil close to the tip or the pointed end. That gives me more control. So this does take a while, so really take your time. It doesn't have to look perfect, but as you're going, the most important part is that you have a dark line, just like how mine looks. So do that for all of your letters until you have finished. Now that I have finished tracing my letters so that they are dark and with a thicker line, I'm going to close my paper. And then look at your closed paper. You can actually barely see those lines that you had on the inside. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to transfer that pencil onto the other side. So you just need something to rub with. You can use your finger, but I'm using a Sharpie. And because I can kind of see where I had written on the paper on the inside, I'm going to outline that part. And then as you're going, you can flip it open a little. See how it's transferring now to the white side? That's what we want. This is a process called transfer. And basically what you're doing is you're just rubbing your paper until the graphite from your pencil goes on the blank side. So just continue that until you have filled in your paper. You do have to press pretty hard with your hand that is rubbing, so if your hand starts to hurt, just take a little break. Then when you open up your paper, if you look close enough, you'll see how that pencil has transferred to the white side. So now, to make our lines even darker, we're going to use a Sharpie to outline where you have written. If you don't have a Sharpie, you could also use a marker or even a crayon or colored pencil would work fine. After you trace all of your letters, flip it to the other side and trace over that side as well. When you finish, you can erase the extra little pencil marks, and now we're actually going to look at it and make some designs to add and create our monster. So only draw on one side because we are using this rubbing technique to show how one side of the page can flip to the other side to show symmetry. Because we all have different names and our names look different when we write them, my monster might look different than yours, but that's because you are the artist. This is up to you to make it how you want. I'm really just using lots of lines to create my drawing, but as I'm drawing, I'm imagining that the other side looks exactly how the side that I'm drawing on looks. So keep that in mind as you are drawing, and try to add as many designs as you can just to make it look more interesting and have your picture really come to life. So I wanted my monster to look friendly, so I drew a big smile with some goofy teeth and an eye, a nose, and then I guess that top part looks like a little ear. Again, you don't have to make this into a monster. You could really just play with making designs that are symmetrical. Once you have a design that you like, go back over your pencil marks and make them darker by applying more pressure. Now you're going to notice that if I close my paper and I try to do the rubbing, it is better that I rub on the side that you drew on. So I'm rubbing on the left side, and then when I open it, okay, I can barely see the top part, and that's because I actually had to go back over and make those lines darker. So if you skip that step, it really won't work. You can pause this video now so that you can go over your designs to make them nice and dark and thick lines. When you finish, then you can close your paper and grab a rubbing tool, or again, you can just use your finger and rub all over the lines and designs that you have made. Then when you open your paper, look, you can see how the lines have transferred. All right, now you can go over that with Sharpie, or if you used marker before, use that. When you finish tracing your lines with Sharpie or marker, you can erase your other lines with your pencil. If you decide that you want to add more designs, you can do that now. And then let's color. As you are coloring, remember one side of your monster has to look exactly the same as your other side. I like to show some different values. So one strategy I use is I outline the shape that I'm going to color. I'm just using an orange, and I apply a little bit more pressure than I normally would with my hand. Then with a light pressure with my hand, I color in the rest of the shape. That just gives a little bit more value and it looks really nice. Here's some advice on where to put your colors when you are in the coloring stage. A rule of 3 is good. So notice the green, 1, 2, 3. Now look how many times I have blue. 1, 2, 3. I also have purple 1, 2, 3 areas in my drawing, and then red 1, 2, and I'm thinking I should probably put a red in that third spot that I pointed to. So I'm actually going to do some orange and red. That's because they are warm colors and they look similar to the eye. The rule of 3 is helpful because it actually moves your eye around the artwork. This is called movement, and because our piece is symmetrical, it also creates balance in your artwork. I wanted my monster very colorful, but I also chose to keep some spots white on purpose. This pulls your eye through the drawing, which creates movement, and it just makes it a little more interesting. Experiment finding a balance between a lot of color and some white spots on your monster this week. I hope you have a ton of fun creating it. Look how cool it looks.